Hello and welcome to this week's Yarn Chat. My name is Nicole and I am the brains and the beauty behind Yarncraft by Nicole. We have another gloomy gray day today, but we've got some fun things that we're going to get into, lots of projects, and I'm really excited about everything that I'm going to show you this week. The first thing I want to show you is my pattern test for the Certainly Cypress cardigan. Probably shouldn't have worn stripes under it, but that's okay. This is a pattern test I'm doing for Haley Handcrafted. There's actually a tea version of this as well. And I'll hold it up so you can see the stitch pattern. It came out really cute. I used Patagonia, which is an organic merino from Juniper Moon Farms. This is the color Rose, I believe, and it's such a pretty color. It's a more rustic yarn, so it definitely feels like wool. It's not the super slick, buttery merino, but I really like it, and it's going to be a lot of fun to wear this fall. So I'm a big fan. I love her patterns because it is very easy to adjust the size and make it customizable for you. If you like, for this one, I didn't have a ton of positive ease. Part of that is because my body is continually changing while I am pregnant, but I really like the fit of this. I think I'm going to wear this all the time. Since it's been dry, it's been very hard not to wear it this week, but things are finally starting to cool off a little bit here in New York, and I can't wait to wear this all fall. And because it's kind of a lighter weight cardigan, like this would look really good over like a mock turtleneck or a long sleeve shirt. I was much better than I have been on some of the sleeves that I've made, where I've made them either too short or just too wide. I don't know, I'm really thrilled with the fit of this, and I like it a lot. And I have some left over. Part of me wants to make something for baby girl that matches. We'll see. It'll probably just wind up in stash for a little bit, but I like this a lot. It came out really cute. So let me show you, I guess I'll show you whip or finished objects first. I think I only have one whip up here. So as I'm getting ready for the craft fair, that's going to be on September 10th, which is not that far away, I'm trying to come up with ideas of fun, smaller items that I can make multiples of, that if you're not a crocheter, that would still appeal to you, kind of thing. So I decided this week that I would make gnomes and pumpkins. I make custom gnomes on Etsy. Usually someone will come to the shop, or maybe they know me personally and will ask for a certain color palette or to have an overall theme, and I really enjoy making those. So I've got two gnomes that I finished this week. The first one I'm going to show you, Scoot's in here. He's not usually in the room with me when I podcast, but he's convinced that everything that I make that is like a stuffed animal or amigurumi is a toy for him. So he just perked his head up when I pulled this out. This is kind of a rustic Santa inspired gnome that came out really cute. All of this was scrap yarn that I had. I basically went through my stash and put colors together that I thought looked good, or that had an overall theme. So like usually if I was doing something where I was making a wearable, I would not mix the fibers as much as I did in this gnome, because like his beard, sweater, his beard and his sweater are both wool. His skin tone is acrylic. And then this is Barocco Remix, and it's got like wool, silk, nylon, a bunch of stuff in it. So usually I would not mix all of those if it was something that needed to be in one single garment, but for something like this that's decorative, I mix and match. Now sometimes I will do an entirely synthetic gnome or all cotton in case there is a wool allergy. The other one I'm going to show you is all synthetic. So this little guy is very cute. And again, he's kind of a subtle Santa. He's not over Santa-y, but he's really adorable. I like this one a lot. And then the other one will kind of tie into the next few things I'm going to show you. This one I actually made first. And look at the bottom of his sweater, because that's the best part. Santa, you're gonna have to go on the floor. I don't know if you can see these, but these look like little pumpkins, and it's a cluster stitch and then a row of single crochet above it. Almost like it was a linen stitch, that's what it was. So I tried to line up the single crochets in the linen stitch with the top of the clusters, if that makes sense. And then when I did the next row on top of it, I had like the single crochet of the orange like over the chain of the green, if that makes sense. So I think he's adorable. I actually was inspired at Target because I saw a little pumpkin gnome at Target, and I was like, oh, that's cute, because the body looked like a pumpkin and then the top was green. And I thought about trying to do something like that. I have my best friend loves pumpkins, and I thought about making one like that for her, but I've done a lot of patterns with this cluster stitch recently, and I was just curious if it would look like a pumpkin, and it did, and I'm very happy about it. So I got these two guys for the market, and then I made a ton of Tunisian pumpkins, which I'm going to show you next. So I had a decent amount of the orange and the green yarn that was in that gnome left over. I bought the panoramic big twist, which is what that yarn was, for a dress I made, where most of the dress is this like light teal blue color, and then it has a stripe of dark orange and a stripe of bright orange just around the hem. It's very cute. But I didn't need the rest of the cake, and the cakes are pretty large. I think they might be 200 grams. They have a ton of yardage, and it's a sport weight. So I had a lot of the orange and the green left over. I made the pumpkin sweaters that I showed you last week for my daughter and my best friend's daughter that are both due this like fall winter. And so, but I still had oranges left over. So I decided to make pumpkins. So I made this one first, and they're all Tunisian. And because I'm extra, they're all different stitches for these prototypes. And then I ran out of stuffing, and I'll make more. So this is the first one. This is the Tunisian knit stitch. It's super cute, very classic, cute size. I've tried to make pumpkins before, and I think that my fabric on the pumpkin itself was just too stiff. However I was crocheting it, I think I was trying to be too innovative with a crochet pumpkin. But using a size H Tunisian hook with a sport weight yarn worked great for this. So that's my classic one. And then I did a two-tone, the orange and the green, and then I already had the brown just in my stash. I really like this one. Everybody that that has seen pictures of it, they're like, yeah, that one's probably my least favorite, but I thought it was fun. So I did those. I did just a solid green one. This one uses the lattice stitch. I really like the texture. I'm gonna do an orange one in the lattice stitch too, because I think it'll show up better than it did on the green. And then the last one I did, because I had a little bit of the dark orange left, not a whole lot, I did a stripedy one, which I think is also very cute. So I love these. I made these 4, and then I made the 2 gnomes, and then I ran out of polyfill stuffing. So I ordered some more. It should be in today. And I actually had someone already reach out to me on Instagram to make them like a set. So I'm gonna do that, and then my best friend wants at least one orange and one green one. But I'm really pleased with them, and they're just delightful because you make them flat, you seam them up, you gather the top and the bottom, you make a little stem, and you're done. Like, they're relatively quick, and they're adorable. Part of me well, I am definitely making myself some whenever I'm done with all of these. And I don't know what yarn I would want to use. But they're so cute. I love them. So that was my focus this week, was Tunisian pumpkins and gnomes for the craft fair, which after making 20 pairs of earrings the week before, these have been a lot simpler and a lot less taxing on my hands. The other things that I made for the fair, I started a hat that I haven't finished when we went to go see Oppenheimer, which was very good. I enjoyed it a lot. I felt like it was a unique way to tell the story. And I like movies that have a ton of dialogue. I didn't actually crochet during the movie, but I did like all the way through the previews and then on the train to and from the movie, because we saw it in the city, which was a lot of fun. It was just another part of the experience of seeing it. So I have that, but I don't have it with me. The other thing I made for the fair that is finished is this. And I don't think you can see, I do need to weave in like 2 ends. I wove in most of them and then I blocked it. It's actually still a little bit damp. So this is the Cats and the Cowl pattern that I wrote, that is written for worsted weight yarn. And it was written for a fade that I got from Wonderland Yarns that had 5 mini skeins and a full skein, and it was all worsted weight. But I had all of these leftovers from different projects that I thought kind of went together, but they're all DK weight. So I was like, well, I mean, the actual cowl is pretty large, and I'll show you kind of what this looks like on. I think that a DK weight yarn would just make a slightly smaller cowl, but still you would get to see all the colors, and I think it's very lovely. I don't know if I like it better than the worsted weight version, but I've been wanting to make a scrappy one anyway, and it's awesome and I love it. So this will be for the fair as well, and I think it came out really cute. And I love a scrappy project because it's like, oh, I remember I used that yarn to make my sister-in-law, this purple at the top, to make her a cardigan. That was part of my fade for the understory cardigan. I used that for a baby blanket for a friend. I used most of the rest of these were part of that fade. Like I'm using that again in my granny square tee. So I just like a scrappy project. And for such pretty yarn, like if you're gonna spend that much on hand-dyed yarn, it's nice to use it as much as possible, like all the way to the end. I also liked this because with a more solid main color, it lets each of them shine. And this, like I said, it was written for worsted weight minis, but if you have DK minis, Cats and the Cowl pattern by me, Nicole Michael, is a great way to use minis and lets each of them shine. So minis and a full skein, you're set. Love it. Yeah, it might be hard to sell that, but I really hope it does sell. Some of the things I'm making for the market, kind of hope they don't sell. The other thing that I did after taking a long break from the alphabet blanket, I told myself I need to get through the light blue squares because I knew I would be excited to start the next color squares. So just like push through the light blue ones, you'll be excited to do the next color. So I did. And the other thing is that I was working on, I think it was these and the Tunisian pumpkins. And both of those, like both of the projects are not very complicated. They can be a little tedious. So it was good to have like, okay, I'll do 2 rows of an alphabet square and then I'll switch over and do 2 rows of the Tunisian pumpkin just to keep my hands busy, but also not get bored, because sometimes I do get bored. So I did the letter K and I did the letter H and then I blocked them. So they're not curling as bad as they were last time. With this set of 4, it's supposed to be 5. A couple weeks ago I told you I did it was the letter V when I should have been doing the letter W. And so now I don't know what color the W should be. Regardless, I did not do the letter W now because I'm just gonna figure out, once I have the rest of the squares, what color would look good there. And then there's one blank one that I had done before. The A. I have crocheted for a long time, pretty good at it, but every once in a while, and it's not even that noticeable from a distance, but you can see it close up. When I was doing the A, for whatever reason, when I did the line that goes across, I did not pull the main color tight enough through it so you can see it like poking out. It is noticeable. I thought it would be better after blocking. It's marginally better after blocking. However, I think I'm just gonna leave it. I don't think I'm gonna redo it because it's a handmade blanket, and that's kind of part of the point, is that it's not exactly perfect. I do kind of, it does kind of bother me that it's the letter A, like right at the beginning, but I think when the whole blanket is together, I will still know it's there. It will still be noticeable to me, but I don't think it will be too distracting. So very pleased with these. This was a, yeah, like just look at the difference between the middle of the A and then all of the H. And it's not even like the A was the first letter I've done. Like, I had already done a lot of letters before I got to A, and it's still a little wonky. But I think that will just add to the charm of this particular blanket. I do really like how these are looking. They're so pretty. I've done, I think this is 14 now. I think I had already done 10 before I did these 4, so getting there. And the next color I went ahead and wound up. I wound a lot of yarn earlier this week. One is for a secret pattern test that I can't show you, but the yarn was, or like the test is a collaboration between a designer and a yarn dyer. And so the yarn dyer sent us yarn. I'm not even gonna tell you who it is because I don't know if I'm allowed to, but I've bought yarn from her before and I've loved her yarn, and these are very lovely colors. So I wound all that so I can start that pattern test, and then I wound the next color for this, and then I will go ahead and show you some other things that I'm going to be doing. I really don't have any whips up here. Like, most of what I'm doing right now is for the craft fair, and so it's using leftover yarns and skeins to make small things, and they're just not as cute in the progress as they are once they're finished, because it's like, it's so small and scrappy. Or it's like, I think that this is going to be a scarf, but we're gonna kind of see if I have enough yarn, kind of dealio. So I don't really have any whips to show you, but there's another pattern test that I signed up for. After having a hiatus, I am now in the midst of 3 pattern tests at the same time, so such is life. The other pattern test is actually by this same designer that did the alphabet squares, and I have not tested for her before. She's writing a book, which is very exciting, and she's had pattern tests for some of the patterns in her book, and I'm like, I don't have time for that, or I'll make that later, but I just can't right now. But there's a very cute granny square cowl that she has. It's a solid granny square, and I signed up to test for that, and I got it. So, and that one's not a secret. I can tell you about that one. But it calls for 1 skein of a main color and then 2 mini skeins. So I went through my stash because I'm like, I got yarn, I got fingering yarn, I got a ton of sock weight. I'm sure I can find yarn I already have. I don't need to buy anything new. And I went in my stash and I was like, oh yes, this will be perfect. So this is a, let's see if it'll focus. It's kind of hard because it's such a bright label. And now I have a ring light so that you can actually see what I'm showing you. But I bought this a while ago, Sunshine Queen Fibers. And when I did another secret pattern test, which I will be able to show you next week because that's when the pattern comes out, I let y'all vote between this one and then like the orangey brown one. And I used the orangey brown one and it's just right for that. But this will be perfect for this because it has 2 mini skeins. That's what these are. And then the main color. And it's got a little bit of shimmer to it. It's going to be very cute. So I'm probably going to wind this up today so that I can get started on that. It's so soft. It's an 80% superwash, 15% nylon, 5% gold stellina. And it's very, very soft. Very excited to use this. This was part of her, I think it was called Jewel Tone collection that she did relatively recently. So very pumped about that. And then the other yarn that I bought is this. I don't know if y'all have seen this trend of glow in the dark yarn. It is not a trend that has necessarily super appealed to me. However, my best friend who has 2 boys and is expecting her first daughter in November, saw that you can make little tiny ghosts, like crochet ghosts out of glow in the dark yarn, and requested some for her kids. So I bought this off Amazon. I've never used this brand before. I definitely thought it was more yarn in the picture. I thought it was 100 grams instead of a 50-gram cake, but it is a DK weight, which I prefer a smaller weight yarn for Amigurumi, as opposed to like the plushies and the super chunky ones that are made with velvet yarn. I don't know. I feel like I have more control. I think it looks a little neater. But anyway, I have glow in the dark yarn and I'll be making ghosts soon once my polyfill comes in. That will be for a lot of these projects. The only other yarn I wanted to show you is this, and it's not a new yarn per se. This is usually sitting on my shelf right behind my Yarn Queen sign. I'm in a season of making, and by that I mean as a crochet designer, and attempting to be a vlogger, sometimes I really am enjoying designing, thinking through patterns, thinking through photo shoots for pictures. The past few weeks, and maybe it's because of the craft fair, like I know that that's a deadline, all I want to do is just kind of make things blindly without patterns, without thinking about writing a pattern for something, just making. So, and I have a significant yarn stash. So it's usually easy to just pull something out and make something. I bought this a while ago when we were in Richmond, visiting my sister-in-law. And originally I bought this to become a cowl for myself. I love a cowl, and I wanted to try universal yarn. I had never tried it before, and I'd seen it online and I was curious about it. I think, yeah, this is a worsted. So I have 2 donuts of this, and then 1 of this mohair with a little bit of shimmer in it. However, staring at them in my yarn cabinet, in my beautiful shelf, I've decided that they need to become a baby sweater. And maybe there will be something left over for me to do something for myself, but I'm going to hold the mohair with the with the worsted wool here as like just a little bit of a sparkle. And I think this is going to become my next just make it project that's personal. I've started to do like have a personal project and a craft fair project going all like at the same time and just alternating between the two, which I liked. But I think this will be quick and I think it will be very cute. We also got all of her nursery furniture in today. And after all that came in and we got some things set up, I just want to make her all of the things. The other thing that I'm going to make her, I think, is a wreath with crocheted flowers in it. I think that would look really cute to put above her crib. Originally I was going to paint something, and I still might paint something for her room, but I think this will go with kind of the aesthetic that's already in there and be very cute. I'm not going to be crocheting her a mobile. I have seen very cute ones, but we've already decided that we're going to get her a mobile that has all the planets on it and found a cute one that we like. So that's what's going to happen there. And that, I think, is all I have for this week. What I can't let go is really what I just told you. All of her nursery furniture came in and her room actually looks like a baby's room now and not a quasi storage room. We've still got less than 4 months before she'll be here, but it finally feels like she's got a spot when she does come, and that's really really exciting. Our dog Scoot was excited to see furniture come in, excuse me. Very curious about it, was a little disappointed that we did not let him try out the crib or test out some of the toys that she has gotten. Again, he thinks that any kind of stuffed animal, anything that makes noise, that's his. So he's going to have a rude awakening come December. He's currently curled up on the bed trying to get some snoozes in. With that, I will leave you until next week. Next week we should still have a regular podcast. We've got family coming in next weekend. We're gonna go do US Open stuff, which is very exciting. But all of that happens after Thursday. So I will see you here next week. Have a great weekend. If you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Bye guys.